First to speak will be Sam DeLong. Where?
Good evening. I'm Sam DeLong, a year-round resident of Cape Vincent. I come expressing my gratitude to this board tonight. A couple of years ago, a petition was turned in to the town board of Cape Vincent with over 800 signatures asking this board to entertain a moratorium so that we could move forward as a community to protect our economic and health benefits. I am ecstatic that this board has finally acknowledged the over 800 people that have signed that petition tonight. I thank you very much.
Next person is Sally Boss.
I'll read the comment that I'm going to turn in to you. I am in support of your passing a 7-month moratorium with the idea of completing a new town zoning law and updating the comprehensive plan. Since March of 2006, when we attended a public hearing on wind turbine development at the fire station, there was an effort to change the zoning law. Efforts on 2 other occasions to update the zoning law have fallen by the wayside, mostly due to the fact that compromise was not an option on some people's parts. Therefore, we are at the 4th time and 7 years later, still faced with the task of updating the zoning law and the comprehensive plan. There should be no excuse for anyone on this board to deny the moratorium so that the existing committees can finish the task of crossing all T's and dotting all I's and accomplish this task. If any of you vote against the passage, it only shows to all of us that you are more concerned about yourself, your pride, your image, than you are about the good of all the people of Cape Vincent.
Thank you. Dave Lamore.
Good evening. My name's David Lamora. I live on Route 12 here in Cape Vincent. Actually, Sam has already made mention of some of what I was going to say. In June of 2009, I presented a petition to the then sitting board that was signed by close to 800 people from the Cape Vincent area, requesting a 1-year moratorium at that time. The intent of that moratorium was to allow the town to develop an ordinance or a wind law, whatever you want to call it, to regulate or deal with wind development without the threat of an impending project. That was really the key, that you shouldn't, in the name of good government and in good practice, the process of developing a law or an ordinance or regulations shouldn't be done with the threat of a project looming over your head, with the project already having been developed and defined and by all intents and purposes already in place. So I applaud this board, much as Sam and Sally have said, for organizing a review and possible revisions of our comp plan and our zoning law. I still believe that it's essential that we do that without the threat of an impending project. And so I would like to, whether it's official or not, I would like to speak for those 800 people that signed that petition. I'd like you to dust that petition off wherever it sits in the town office and consider those 800 people urging you now to pass this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Lyle Wood.
Lyle Wood. I live at 36080 New York State, Route 12E, right here in Cape Vincent. And unlike the previous 3 speakers, first of all, I'd like to say, especially John and Cliff, I'm thoroughly disgusted with the board. You were elected to do everything above board and do everything on the up and up for the Cape Vincent, but yet you continue to do things behind closed doors. There's a Zogby poll last year that the town paid over $12,000 for. Where's the results of that? What were the results of that? And then you continue to go and you have a moratorium, or you've all stated that this will pass tonight, without even the public comment or the written comments that were sent in. So you already made up your mind that you were going to pass this tonight without, I mean, why are you even having a meeting tonight if you already made up your minds that you're going to pass it? You know? And the other thing is, you're having this right in the middle of winter in February. Where's all the seasonal residents? Why don't they get to voice their opinion? Why not have it in July? But yeah, you're having it in the middle of February, and right after you guys get elected to the board and shove this right down everybody's throat without even any comment period or anything. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Paul Mason.
Paul Mason. I'm a lifelong resident of the Cape Vincent, year-round resident, always have been. I made my living here in the Cape Vincent. It's not like some seasonal people that come in and try to tell us what to do. I made my living here, and it wasn't easy as a dairy farmer. I have land here, and I would challenge anybody to follow in my shoes for the last 50-some years. But that's beside the point. I am against this moratorium of wind. For one reason, like Lyle mentioned, a year ago it was a very urgent, and you told me it was urgent because you wanted to get the survey out before the people left the South. That was your very words to me. So this survey was taken. 63% of the people that was surveyed were seasonal residents. 38% were year-round residents. Pretty fair survey, as you ask me. Now, the results of that survey, and I think this is why there was never any action, because you were too embarrassed to follow through with. I don't know why you was doing it. You spent some tax dollars, money. But 47% was strongly in favor of wind. 41% opposed. And that's a majority of the seasonal residents that made this survey up. And I can't figure out why, almost a year later, nothing has been done. Why we spent that money is beyond me. And now, on the other issue, if you're going to stop wind, you better look at your laws in the Jefferson County Ag District people. And the majority of these people that want a personal turbine. So if you start putting personal turbines in with wind farms, you better watch your laws, because I will challenge you. I have a right to farm. A wind turbine on my farm is an acceptable agricultural practice. And if you try stopping that, you've got yourself a battle. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Edsel.
I'm not really sure you want me to use the microphone, because I think I'll blast you all out of the room, but whatever works for you. My name is Rich Etzel. I've lived here all my life. I went to school here. My wife and I raised 5 children, all who did exceptionally well in college. Thank you, Thousand Islands High School. I invested in this area when no one else did. My children and I farmed here, so that's the background. Now, I met with Urban prior to the January 30th letter, and I told you that I would support a moratorium if the moratorium had a fixed end. It was not going to be like the town of Lyme and go on forever as a way of stopping the project. Right? I said I would support it, as long as you were going to use it to come up with some product. Either you're going to outlaw them, or you're going to say where they can be allowed here or not allowed, and we're going to be done with this. 7 years is too long. People won't talk to anybody anymore. Right? Then I believe the supervisor made a mistake. He sent out a letter, a cease and desist letter, on these personal turbines. Some people had permits, some people didn't. The first mistake was you should have been a man, picked up the phone, called the people, said, we got an issue here, can we work it out? I think it could have been worked out. My legal advisor, for what it's worth, does not feel that you have the authority to sign the letter. But I'm still hoping that we can get past this point in Cape Vincent's history. So if you can have your attorney show me some section of the law that says you do have this, then I will, be quiet about it. If you can't, I'm one of those people holding a valid permit, and it's been held for more than 60 days, so I have some basis in law. If you feel, and your attorneys feel, and they're sitting here and you're paying the money, and they should be able to tell you this, if you didn't have the legal authority for that letter, then I would recommend that you table a vote tonight and you spend a week or two trying to reach out to the 5 or 6 people, or ever how many people there are, trying to give them the opportunity to reach some kind of a compromise solution. What do I mean? Specifically, you've taken their money, but you said they can't have a permit, so you've stolen their money, technically. So somehow, maybe they would say, well, I'll wait through the moratorium as long as you guarantee me that my 6 months will start the day the moratorium ends. Because these were valid applications. I think you could work something out. I think the people would. If you don't do that, and you don't have the valid standing, then we're going to be involved in some kind of a brouhaha. Now, when the board passes their law for the wind law down the road, whatever you do, yay, nay, maybe some places, not the others, you need to understand that if you put them in such a tight box that they can't be done in Cape Vincent, then Albany will make the decision. You need to realize that going in. This is not, you can't just say, we're not having them, end of the day, because then Albany does it. And instead of having 50 or 60 or 100, you may end up with 300. You need to consider that. And I, as a landowner, have a right to earn money off my land. And I defy any of you to drive down the Burnt Rock Road and Swamp Road where I own property, and my wife owns property with me, and tell me that that area is not suitable for wind turbines. The fact that somebody who's 10 miles away in the town doesn't like it, looks are not a justification. We are not Cooperstown. We don't tell everybody what color to paint your house. So I just try to give you a few areas where I think you need to use a little discretion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last on the list is Hester Chase.
My name is Hester Chase, Bedford Corners Road. For 7 and more years, Cape Vincent has been driven by wind. Without rules, we have struggled, costing neighbors and friends. Time that could have been spent one way was swallowed by the wind. A moratorium's time has come to develop rules, to remember that we all live here, that we share this place, that we all bleed red blood. For 7 and more years, people have organized, been claimed by one side or another as their understanding led them. This is a democracy. We count the votes. We learn in sports, grace in winning and in losing. May Cape Vincent find grace.
Thank you. That